Welcome back to Bootstrappers, the podcast that helps entrepreneurs scale their businesses fast with the power of remote teams. I'm Gwen Aspen, and at Anaquim, we've helped hundreds of companies grow with remote professionals. Delegation is a crucial skill for any entrepreneur. So how do you delegate? As your company grows, it becomes impossible for you to handle every task yourself. You need to learn how to trust and empower others in order to grow your business. In the next episode of Bootstrappers, we'll tackle how to properly delegate so you can free up your time.
This is the Bootstrapper Show for Property Management, powered by Anaquim, a podcast where we have real conversations with industry experts that you can apply to your life and business.
Welcome back to the Bootstrapper Show. I'm your host, Gwen Aspen, and I'm so happy to have our guest, Kathleen Mayfield, here. She is president of Bloom Growth, and she is a team building expert. And today we're going to talk about delegation, which is an area that she and I, as we talk to entrepreneurs, see people get tripped up in often. And so I think we should just dig right in. So hi, Kathy. How are you doing today?
Great, Gwen. How are you?
Wonderful. And we were talking before the show that for whatever reason, it seems like there are a lot of business owners who are in a rut or having a rough time right now. And maybe they're dealing with burnout. And one of the best antidotes to burnout, I think, and Kathy, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but is empowering our team to take on bigger projects and think bigger and be the support of the owner so the owner doesn't feel like the whole world rests on their shoulders.
I agree with you, Gwen. Especially in this day and age where it seems like everything is coming at us at once. And an owner, this is their baby, right? This is their pet, I don't want to say a pet project, but they invest their lives in it. And so to build teams around them that can actually support them to allow them to go do the other things in their life that they are really passionate about, it kind of exponentially grows the impact that entrepreneurs can have in the world if they can build and delegate the right teams around them. And so I'm really passionate about helping teams to figure out how to build that trust, gain the confidence and the comfort level to be able to delegate the appropriate things at the appropriate time to the appropriate people.
Oh, gosh. Well, I love that. Well, I think maybe the environment, if people are in a negative space, right, then they're conserving. They're in a conservative mindset. And so it's harder to delegate if you're kind of coming from a mindset of fear or scarcity because you're like, the only one that can do this the right way is me. But if we can maybe look at our mindset, analyze it, see if there's a better way to think, then it's easier to give our team more autonomy and allow them to do projects. And then actually, even if it seems counterintuitive, when they're doing the projects, the company can actually grow exponentially. I don't know. That's my thought. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that fear plays a big part of it. That people in general are afraid. They're afraid of looking bad. They're afraid of failure as an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, and we may be afraid that the cost and the impact of our mistakes or the gaps in the things that we're actually responsible for or what we're able to do could impact somebody else's family. Maybe it could impact our community, or maybe it could impact that other project or another team. And so I think if we could figure out how we could create partnership and trust and build that trust with those people that we choose to surround ourselves with, that fear almost automatically dissipates. And then it's going to rear its head again. And then we're going to be in a conversation. And what do those conversations look like to authentically say, hey, I'm afraid today. I'm concerned. I'm anxious that this thing, like I was up at night, like thinking like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make payroll? And I'm not the one doing payroll. Like, how am I going to make sure that this gets done correctly? Like, I just think if we can find a way to help people alleviate their fear, to your point, we can exponentially grow our businesses and then help our customers grow as we are. So others around us are going to go. It's like that vibe, that energy that gets put out there. And so I think if we're promoting a space of fear, that's what gets created around us.
And that's what keeps people from delegating and even growing their employees, because if you're not delegating,
100%.
they're not learning how to take more responsibility.
100%. So what does it look like to delegate something to somebody, right? You have a
Mhm.
relationship. I personally went through this whole thing around trust. Like, okay, I have as a president, it's complex. There's a lot of things in the business. And how do I delegate to the team without micromanaging that thing,
Mm,
right? Like how do I give them the autonomy? So I just started to really teach them how to be in communication. Hey, this
mm,
is how I like to receive communication. This is how I give communication. I might ask a lot of questions. It doesn't mean I'm micromanaging you. It
mm,
just means I'm asking a lot of questions so I can have enough information that I can help you if you and when you come into a obstacle or a barrier, then I can be a support to you. So I put them through an apprenticeship square. What does it look like? I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to work with you, and then you're going to do it, and I'm going to observe you, and then you're going to do it by yourself and report back to me. And so I think if we methodically, intentionally create spaces for people to succeed and miss or fail at something, and not make them wrong, that like,
mhm.
hey, we understand you're learning, this is a growth opportunity, what does that mistake look like, how can we put process in place so that won't happen again? Then I as the entrepreneur or I as the business operator can be comfortable to say, okay, we have this chain of communication, we have these processes in place. If something gets broken or we miss a step in the process, we can go back and inspect and optimize the process going forward. So I think it starts to build trust, comfort, a depth of communication that has entrepreneurs and has business leaders be able to trust the people around them, and then be able to sleep at night and go
Yeah.
do the things that they're really passionate about. Maybe this is one thing and they say, "Oh, as an entrepreneur, I know I have probably like 10 things going on." And I'm like, "Oh, I want to do this. How can I delegate this off of my plate so I can go invest some energy into that and still have all of the pieces moving together so cohesively projects are getting completed and across the finish line?"
Okay, so I heard you say so many things. So I want to just active listen because there were so many amazing nuggets. So the first thing I heard you say was it's okay for business owners to be honest about how they feel about a project. I love the payroll example because payroll, I always tell our team, because we do virtual assistants for Mexico, we have two jobs. One is to pay people the right amount and on time. And the two
Mhm.
is to hire amazing people that really move other businesses forward. Like at the end of the day, when you really deduce it down, those are the things. So payroll is something that I personally really understand being stressed out about. But it's okay to communicate the emotional importance of the parts of the job that really do keep you up at night, because I think giving context to our team in a human way helps them take responsibility in the right way and understand how to prioritize. But I think people get scared about that because they don't want to seem weak. But it is okay, right?
Oh,
I mean, to
I
have
think it's
emotions
100%
about certain
okay.
tasks. What?
Have them,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have them regardless. And so,
Mm,
what does it look like to be an authentic leader to come to your team? They're having him too. And so,
mm-hmm.
how do we get into a dialogue where we're able to say, hey, I don't want to make this mean anything, but this is how I'm interpreting, this is how it's occurring to me. Help me understand. I love that phrase. So, I ask my team
Help
quite
me
often, help me
understand.
understand, because this might not be the way I would do it. And it doesn't mean that your way is not a correct way or an appropriate way. It's just different. So I'd like to understand such that I'm not in a space of panic or anxiety.
Mm,
So
I love that.
the whole
Help me
payroll thing, like
understand.
when you start to mess with people's money, like that's where I start to get anxious,
Mm,
right? Like as an entrepreneur, I'm sitting here going, I have employees that I have to pay every Friday. I'm sitting here very similar. And as a solo entrepreneur, I don't have somebody else to do it. Now, when I run my business, I have a whole team. And so it was like, okay, when I first started out, I was doing payroll. How do I hand this off so that there's an attention to detail? People are getting paid appropriately on time. Change management is being measured. And then the emotional part of that gets communicated to the right people so they understand the cost and the impact of the things that we're doing and the
Mm-hmm.
ripple effect that those things have. So emotions, I just call them what they are. I
Mm.
just say, hey,
Just be
I
honest
want you to,
about it.
yeah, be honest. Like they're going to feel it anyway because we're
Right.
projecting that.
Right.
And so we might as well
We're
just be
not
like, hey,
hiding anything
help me
very well, are
understand.
we?
I don't hide them very well. I don't.
the
So,
the next thing that I just loved about what you said is building the trust and how you explained how you operate so it's not misinterpreted. Because when you're getting to know someone that you're working with, you can misinterpret certain things that they do as a lack of trust. So if you're like, this is how I operate, this is how I like to communicate, this is some of the quirks of my personality, these are the things that are like triggers for me to get more angry. If you're really honest and also self aware on the front end, it prevents a lot of drama.
oh, the drama triangle. That's the worst, right? Isn't it the worst for
Yes. And
everybody?
misunderstanding. It's a lot of drama. I think like people always interpret it as like someone slighting me. And I ask people to take a step back and say, please consider that it's simply a misunderstanding first before you go to someone slighting me. But it's a
But
process to
that's
learn
that
that.
whole like generosity that we want to
Mm,
give people, right? Like if I'm generous with you, I'm not going to automatically assume the worst. I'm going to
mm-hmm.
be like, hey, we are humans, we make mistakes, we say things that we don't mean, things get misinterpreted in text messages and email. Hey, let's
Totally.
just hop on a call. Like, can we just get on a call? I want you to see my deep commitment to who you are being for our company and
Mm.
who you're being to your teams and who you're being to our clients. And this is just getting misinterpreted in a text message. The
I
emotion
love
doesn't
that.
seem to come across, right?
But I think when people skip that step of self awareness and here are my quirks and, being humble, like here are the things that I'm a little weird about, that promotes the trust. And then as time moves on, when things inevitably happen as they do in business, you get the generosity in return because you were generous with offering up like maybe some of your limitations or some of the areas that, I'm not strong in these areas. I'm asking you to support me in there. But when that step gets missed, I think can be one of the things that causes things to get derailed.
Yes. And then it puts walls up where you don't want to delegate more to them, right? So you're
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, I just got burned by this person. And so, how do I actually bridge that so I don't feel like I got burned,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm not looking bad? I have this huge responsibility for the other people in the organization, but that this person actually gets to win. And so we create a 360-degree
Mm.
win, not a zero sum game. And
Mm.
so I think as leaders, it's up to us as we own the culture of the organization, it's up to us to say, it's okay. It's okay to be human. It's okay to be, you know, emotional. Like, what do
Mm-hmm.
we do with those emotions? It's not a personal attack. I'm processing information and I'm processing feelings because I'm either in a state of panic or I'm in a state of fear or I'm anxious or I don't know or I'm confused. And so, what does it look like as a leader to demonstrate what that authenticity looks like so that you can teach your teams it's okay? It's okay to take on big, hairy, audacious
Mm.
projects for the greater good. Partner with me, accept me, meet me where I'm at. I'm going to meet you where you're at. And then together we get to create something awesome.
Oh, that's
And then
beautifully said.
wouldn't that be awesome? Like if every organization in the country and in the world could operate that
Oh
way,
my
I
God.
think we
It
could
would be
avoid
transformative.
war. It would be transformative, right?
So then the next thing you said is you called it an apprenticeship square. Is that the term you used?
It is the term. It is a tool and an exercise that you can put your teams through. And so the first step of the square is I'm showing somebody. So it's literally a box. And I can send it to any of your viewers that want to see it. But it's literally a box, and you put them through the square, and it's literally a step. And so the first step is you are showing them, and they're just watching you do a task.
Okay.
Then the next time, they're doing the task with you.
Mm-hmm.
Then the
Okay.
next step is they do the task and you're watching them. And then the last step is that they're doing the task while you're actually like on the outside observing them. So you do it, they do it, you help them, they do it, you're watching them, then they're doing it by themselves.
So
And
what
so it has this feedback loop all along the way where you're comfortable as somebody delegating the task to them, that they're understanding these are the steps in the task, this is the follow up in the task. And then they get to experience the mentorship and the coaching. So they're learning how you do the task. And then you're comfortable that the communication is flowing back and forth. And then it's much easier to delegate the next time. Oh, yeah. Do we require an apprenticeship square? This seems kind of simple. If you want it, we can go through the apprenticeship square. If not, so I put my teams through this on major tasks. If we're rebuilding a piece of software, I'm like, okay, this is the way that I would project manage that. Do you want to go through the apprenticeship square? No, I think I got it. And I'm like, okay, you think you got it. Let's go through the apprenticeship square. So I listen for keywords where people are unsure or they're lacking confidence. And then I, as the leader, go the extra step to ensure that they're comfortable in the task and that I'm comfortable in them doing the task.
Okay, I think this is super important because as an entrepreneur, I love this is like my toxic trait. I love to tell other people to do things the right way and then I never do them myself. I'm like rebellious against my own rules, if you will. But as I've matured, I've realized that the rules that we all have or the discipline that we all, talk about, it's so important to follow through. So just again, just so I actually get this. So you're saying you if you sense any hesitation with them or lack of confidence, you go through the formal process of this
Yes.
apprenticeship square.
100%.
And
Yes.
that
Because what's going to
formal,
happen?
yes.
Yes. Because what's going to happen to you as the entrepreneur, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
sitting here, you tell them to do something, they go do it, they don't meet your expectations. You're sitting here going, oh, I can't trust them the next time. They just don't get me.
And so
When
then
really,
I
if you
don't
just,
delegate and then it
and then
stays
you
on
don't
my,
delegate.
yep.
Yes. And then, so if you could pause, if we could just learn to slow down just a little bit, I say make the investment on the front end. So you're not investing all of your energy on the back end, repeating all of the things that you could have just spent the 10 minutes on the front end doing. So you actually get to save yourself hours of backwards work by slowing down, listening. And I think the key here, though, is to ensure that as an entrepreneur, you're building yourself a team that you innately trust. So if you have that employee or you have that teammate that you're just sitting here going, I don't know, they don't consistently perform, it makes it more challenging for you to actually delegate. So, as an entrepreneur, it's really key in those early stages of your startup or your business that you surround yourself with those people that you innately trust, that you say, okay, they might make a mistake, but they definitely have my back. They're not
Mm-hmm.
going to intentionally harm me or do harm to the business. They they deeply care about what I'm up to. They understand my mission, they understand my vision, they truly get what I'm up to. And so then you're like, okay, well, then you're more likely to want to invest your energy in just being with that person because they're there helping you, supporting you. So, yeah, Gwen, I encourage my teams to slow down, take the few minutes. Maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's a day on a very big project. Have them shadow you. Start, yep, nope, you're coming with me to Starbucks. You're going to get coffee with me. Nope, you're going to see how I operate my day. And then that they get so in tuned to listening and actively listening to you as an entrepreneur that they then get to know how you work. how you
Mm-hmm.
operate, how you communicate. And so I say that with as much love for entrepreneurs as possible. Our minds want to go a million miles a minute
Mm.
and we want to keep doing the thing. And I'm going to encourage us to slow down, to build teams around us that we can actually say, hey, I want your help. I require your help. And it's going to be a conversation. I'm going to struggle with it a little bit because this is a pet project that I've had and I'm really committed to it. But in the spirit of development for our organization, it's going to require me to slow down. Please partner with me and help me. Will you be willing to do that? And most people are like, yes, I just care so much for you. I want to help you. And so I said, okay, we're going to go through this apprenticeship square. And they may do the same thing that you said. Wait, what is that? And I'm going to be like, okay, let's just walk through the steps. And so I encourage people to take the few minutes, slow down, and be comfortable. It's going to occur like a risk. Like I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to jump off the cliff and surround yourself with people that you're willing to hold their hands with and jump off the cliff with you.
So with this, what I also just love about this square
Square.
is that when you're scaling quickly and you have used this formal process to train the people below you, you can have confidence that they'll use the same formal process to train the people that come behind them. And it creates this disciplined organization that's going to scale more effectively than an organization that lacks that discipline, standards, and organization. So I love this. And then the other thing that was
100%.
thinking about while you were talking, I can't remember what book it was. Maybe it was like Smarter, Better. Anyway, there was a book where I read that in the military, they have a saying that slow is smooth, smooth is fast, because if you're putting your gun together and you do it really fast, you're going to miss a piece and then you have to undo your whole gun and put it back together. So that's actually not a time savings. So, and your life could be on the line if you're in active fire. So, slow is smooth, smooth is fast is, I guess, a saying in the military. And that's exactly what you're trying to say is that entrepreneurs are always going a mile a minute. They always have the next idea, but they could be more effective and actually get to work on that next idea if they're really good at building up the people that are working for them and spend the time to do that so that they can really relax and feel like those things are off their plate so they can do the next thing. And if we go a little bit
Freedom.
slower, we might be more effective.
That creates freedom for people. That then they're not thinking this is all on me. It's like taking the weights that are on our backs and slowly distributing the weight amongst our team. So you're not sitting here feeling like just so overwhelmed with it all. You get to build teams around you and then you get to exponentially grow. When we did this in our organization, we quadratically grew. We doubled
Did
our
you
business
really?
quarter over quarter. It was remarkable. Our entrepreneurs, it took them about 5 years, but our ownership team, the three entrepreneurs, were able to elevate themselves out of the business onto the next thing that they're all doing. They still keep their finger on the pulse. They built a team around them, and they had somebody that they innately trusted, like just intimately trusted with their like this was their child
Mm.
and they handed this thing off to me and our team, and we have such deep care for them that we don't want to let them down, and we understand the cost and the impact of us not performing, not raising up future leaders, not developing leaders to develop leaders that also develop leaders. We have this extreme ownership in our organization where our leaf level employees all have a sense of ownership in the business. The things that I do, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So if I see something missing, it's up to me to say something. It's up to me to not say, oh, that's the sales person's job.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm over in technology, they're like, no, I see this could be a gap. I'm going to say something because
Mm.
that person can then go. And we're like, it created this communication where our owners and our entrepreneurs we're able to say, wow, we actually can go now do another thing. And
Mm.
so we have started businesses all over the place and helped entrepreneurs all over the place. We have hundreds of thousands of users in our
Mm.
software. And each one of those companies get to experience this extreme delegation, all in a paradigm of trust and accountability and responsibility, that communication flows, people raise their hand, they're raising the red flags, they're helping the entrepreneur, because we intentionally create a community of people that understand the mission, they understand the vision, they live within the core values, and it's just like this synergy of energy that happens to get flywheel spinning so the entrepreneurs can create more, and then
Oh.
we help them create more.
Well, I'm so inspired. I love this conversation, Kathy. We have Kathy Mayfield with us. She's president of Bloom Growth. And so if you want to know more about Kathy, her information will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for being with us on the Bootstrapper Show.
This was lovely. Thanks, Gwen.
Thank you. Find the leaders on your team with our free leadership matrix. The link is in the show notes.
This is the Bootstrapper Show for property management, powered by Antiquum, a podcast where we have real conversations with industry experts that you can apply to your life and business.